As a part of this video, or in this video, we will be discussing about adding features that will help us to connect the parts together. The features which I am referring to at this moment are nothing but the ribs and bosses. Now, before working on the technical part, that is utilizing the features or the options available in Creo Parametric, we will first understand what are the ribs and bosses. Ribs and bosses are structural members which are being added to the casting parts, to the plastic parts, to improve the strength of the part and for also connecting different parts together, especially with the bosses. Your bosses are nothing but circular extrusions, you can see in this image. So you will be having certain screws which can be inserted from the bottom, and that can be tapped inside these material of the boss, and that will help the complete set of parts to be connected to each other. All right, now we will be learning, or we will be creating those parts in our covers as well. The first thing to consider whenever we are trying to add some ribs and bosses is the location. Where do we want to add, or where do we require those features to be added? Okay, do we require those bosses on the upper cover, or do we require them on the lower cover, or do we require them on both the covers? That is the first part. Second part is at what position or what place that boss should be placed. For example, should it be placed in the central region, or in the upper central region, the left side region, the corner, or what? Now if you are analyzing the assembly, what we have over here as a reference, this is the upper cover and this is the lower cover, right? Now generally, whenever we have, or whenever we are creating parts which users are using it, it is always desired for us to avoid the screws and other structural elements to be represented on the surfaces which are directly appearing to the customer or the consumer, right? So as an engineer, we have to avoid adding those kind of features on the upper surfaces. That means the surfaces which are required for the usage of the product. Okay, you cannot have the buttons over here and also the screws visible. We don't like it actually. Okay, it completely damages the goodness of the appearance, right? So we have to insert the screws basically from the bottom side. All right, we have to insert the screws from the bottom side, and we have to see that it connects to the upper cover. All right, so the first thing is we must be having some bosses on the top. I'll just take a cut section view again over here. All right, and I'll take a snip so that you can understand more clear way. So first thing is we should be having a boss over here. I'm drawing a cut section view. Okay, this is a circular boss basically, and you must be having something boss like feature again over here as well. All right, the screw will be inserted from the base. This is a very rough drawing, and it will be touching the surface of this boss, and it will be coming till here. The screw will be reaching till this point. All right, so what I mean to say is basically the screw will be moving into the material of the boss which is coming from the upper cover. All right, so this is a kind of neat drawing what I have, and the threads of the screw which are wrapping the screw head will be digging inside the material. All right, I'll just go and type over here tapped screws. Let us see, do we have any image over here? So these screws are having certain threads that will be digging into the material. All right, just write self-tapping screws. You don't really have an image that describes the okay, but just imagine we need not create any specific threads in the boss which is coming from the top. Okay, you need not have any threading over there. The thread of the screw itself will remove the material as it is being moving inside. All right, and it fixes in the material. So those are self tapping screws. You can see over here, you can see the material is being digged automatically. All right, the material is being removed by the screw or the fastener itself. All right, so this is what we are going to do right now. So we will be requiring to create some screws on the top and the bottom as well, and the bosses which we are creating from the top and from the bottom, these two bosses will be the surface of contact. Okay, I said you in the previous video there should be some surface of contact. Your upper part and the lower part cannot be hanging in the air, it should be having some surface of contacts. So we will be utilizing the 4 or 5 bosses which we are creating as the surface of contacts. Now the objective of the manufacturer is to ensure that those bosses will be having extremely flatter surface. They have to perform some secondary operation or anything, and they have to ensure that they are extremely flatter, and those surfaces will be touching each other or meeting each other during the assembly. All right, I believe I've given a very good introduction, and let us just try to work on it. And second important point which I wanted to discuss is about the length of the bosses. Okay, so all these things are not for passing the time, we are discussing something productive. I really hope that you're trying to gain something from this set of videos. All right, now what are we going to do is, as I've mentioned that the screw will be digging the material or cutting the material. All right, and it will be tapping the material basically, to be specific. We will be creating the boss from the upper cover, whose length will be greater than the boss which is at the lower cover. Okay, for example, this is the boss which is from the upper cover. The length of this one, L1, will be greater than the boss at the lower level. Okay, this is L2, so L1 will be greater than L2. All right, this is because the shaft of the screw must dig inside as much as possible for enough grip. Okay, so it should hold the material, right? So we should be having much material on the top rather than in the bottom. All right, so let us just try to work on this one. First we will be going on the lower cover. All right, and I'll just go to the normal view, click on extrude command, and at first we will be creating some randomly what do you call dimensioned bosses. We will choose the dimensions from the edges rather than from the central plane. Let this be 0.7, 0.7, and let the dia be 0.35. all right, so this is left corner, we will mirror it on the side one, mirror, mirror again. So we have 4 bosses created on 4 corners. Now this is the lower cover, and according to this image what I have, I want the lower cover boss to be lower than the, or the length of the boss should be less than the boss on the upper cover. Okay, so let us just maintain it as point. What is the total length of the wall from this point to this point is 0.325. okay, so we will maintain it as 50% of that, 325 into 0.5. all right, now just remember the position because we have to create the bosses on the counter side with same position. So this is 0.7, 0.7 and 35. all right, now come back to this upper cover, go to the normal view, extrude, This is 0.75, 75, 35. Okay, so this should be a little bit larger. I'll just leave it as 0.4 and we will just adjust them in the assembly. Okay, now I'm in the assembly right now. Let me change the direction of this assembly to be on the other side and pull it. Where is the boss? Yeah, it is over there. Okay, so there are two things. I believe I have not maintained the dimensions correctly. For the lower cover, it is 0.70. Okay, you didn't say me. This has to be 0.7 rather than 0.75. Alright, so the positioning is correct. Now let us come back to the assembly. Alright, but you can see there is an interference. Okay, the boss from the top is... We can turn on the interference color. Use default options, show interference with red color. Okay, between the two parts. So you can see there is an interference over here. We have to remove this interference. Alright, show interference. Now what is the amount of interference? Let us just calculate at first. Go to analysis, measure the distance, measure from this edge, hold control and measure this edge. It is 0.70. That means in the upper block the extrusion depth must be subtracted by 0.70 or whatever is the value, 0.07. Come back and go to the assembly. Now you can see there is no interference. They are placed upon each other. Alright, now I'll go back to the upper cover and just mirror this geometry on the other sides, or mirror the sketches on other sides. I must have a center line from the midpoint. Select the sketch, go to mirror, done. Select the sketches, go to mirror, done. Press OK and press OK. So we have created 4 bosses over here. Let us come back to assembly. Those two are matching and these two are matching as well. Alright, now this is the end of this video. Let us move to the next video and try to define some holes in these bosses, okay, which will help us to guide the screws inside. Right now there are no holes in these bosses. That is the next step of our work. We have to add some bosses, then add some holes and add some screws as well. Okay, so there is some discussion about holes, introduction, everything I'll be going in the next video. So let us move to the next video.